Good evening, and welcome. Tonight, let me guide you gently through the world of myths and legends. Find a comfortable place to rest, let your body relax, and allow my voice to carry you softly into a peaceful, dreamy journey. Close your eyes and let us begin. Long ago, before the world as we know it had fully taken shape, the cosmos was young, vast, and filled with mysteries. The sky stretched endlessly above. The earth was still forming its mountains and valleys, and the oceans moved with a restless energy, seeking their place among the lands. In this primordial time, the universe was ruled not by order, but by the raw, ancient power of the Titans, beings of immense strength and force, whose wills shaped the heavens and the earth with every thought. Among these Titans, the most formidable was Cronus, the son of Uranus the sky, and Gaia the earth. Cronus had a presence that commanded attention, a gaze that seemed to pierce into the hearts of gods and mortals alike. Yet, for all his might, he was consumed by fear, a fear born of prophecy. It was said that one of his own children would rise against him, overthrowing him as he had overthrown his father. And so, in a cycle of both power and dread, Cronus decided to control his fate in the only way he thought possible, by swallowing his children at the moment of their birth, ensuring that the prophecy could never come true. But in the quiet shadows, not all was lost. Rhea, the mother of these destined children, loved each child dearly and longed for the time when they could live and thrive. She watched with trembling heart as one by one her children disappeared into the belly of Cronus. Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon all were claimed, swallowed before their eyes could see the light of the world. Each time, Cronus laughed, believing the prophecy forever thwarted. But Rhea's courage grew, and when the time came for her sixth child, she knew she had to act with cunning and care, for this child would be the hope of the future, the one who might restore balance and challenge the tyranny of the Titans. Rhea's plan was simple, yet perilous. When she gave birth to the child, she swaddled him carefully, the tiny body warm and fragile in her arms. Then, with the precision of a shadow slitting through the night, she placed a great stone, wrapped in cloth, into the arms of Cronus. The stone, round and heavy, was swallowed without suspicion, while the newborn was spirited away in secrecy. The air was thick with tension as Rhea carried her child to a hidden place, far from the eyes of Cronus and the reach of his power. This hidden child was Zeus. From his very first breaths, there was something extraordinary about him, something that radiated calm but potent strength. The nymphs of the forest and the caregivers of secret groves watched over him, nurturing him with milk and care. It is said that Amalthea, the divine goat, offered her milk to the young god, and the sounds of the forest, a whisper of leaves, the gentle rustling of streams, were his lullabies. Even in infancy, Zeus exuded a quiet majesty, an aura that hinted at the greatness he would one day achieve. As Zeus grew, the hidden groves became his world, a sanctuary where he could develop his mind and spirit away from the tyranny of his father. Yet, he was not alone in his upbringing. Hidden from the sight of mortals and Titans alike, he shared his days with creatures of magic and divinity, learning the ways of the world through the harmony of nature and the lessons whispered by those who watched over him. It was here that the foundations of his character were laid, wisdom tempered with compassion, strength balanced by restraint, and a sense of justice that would one day define his reign. Even as a young god, Zeus felt the pulse of destiny within him. He could hear the echoes of the prophecy whispered across time that he would rise to challenge Cronus and free his siblings. The thought did not fill him with pride or arrogance, but with purpose. He learned patience, for timing was as crucial as strength. Every moment in the hidden groves was a lesson in strategy, observation, and understanding the nature of power. He watched the sky and the clouds, noting how storms could be both destructive and cleansing. He listened to the wind, learning the importance of subtlety and timing. Every whisper of the earth, every rustle of the trees, contributed to his growing understanding of the balance of the universe. As the years passed, Zeus's presence grew more commanding. Though hidden from the world, even the elements seemed to acknowledge his emerging authority. The lightning flashed more brightly at his call, the thunder rolled with a rhythm that matched his heartbeat, and the air itself seemed to hum with anticipation. The nymphs and caretakers spoke of a sense of awe that surrounded him, even in play. Little did they know that these early moments, these calm and quiet years, were the forging grounds for a god who would one day rule not just the skies, but the hearts of gods and mortals alike. And so, in the secrecy of hidden groves, under the gentle watch of nature and divine guardians, Zeus grew. The prophecy remained, whispering across the air like the faintest echo of a storm yet to come. The world outside was unaware of the brewing power within the young god, but soon the time would come for him to step out of the shadows, to challenge the titan who had swallowed his siblings, and to reshape the cosmos itself. But for now, the forest was quiet, the night soft, and the child god slept, cradled by the serenity of the world he would one day govern. Hidden from the gaze of the titan Cronus, Zeus grew in secret, nurtured by those who understood the delicate balance between power and patience. The nymphs whispered ancient wisdom into his ears, teaching him the ways of the earth, the winds, and the skies. Each lesson was a thread in the tapestry of his being, woven carefully to prepare him for the monumental destiny that awaited. Though he played among the streams and the shadows of the forests, every step, every breath was shaping a god who would one day wield authority over the heavens. Even as a young child, Zeus's mind was alert, sharp, and perceptive. He observed patterns in nature, noting the rhythm of storms, the arc of lightning across darkened skies, and the weight of thunder rolling through the mountains. The forest itself seemed to recognize him. Animals approached without fear. Rivers glistened brighter in his presence, and the leaves swayed gently, as if bowing to a ruler they could sense but not yet name. It was in these quiet observations that Zeus learned patience, strategy, and the importance of waiting for the right moment. Though Cronus was unaware of the young god's survival, the prophecy lingered like a shadow over the titan's heart. In the hidden groves, Zeus could feel this looming destiny, an invisible thread tugging at the edges of his consciousness. He did not rush, nor did he rebel prematurely. Instead, he trained himself in subtle ways, learning to harness the energy of storms, to sense shifts in the environment, and to channel the latent powers that stirred within him. Each day, the nymphs and divine caretakers marveled at his quiet focus, knowing that this child was unlike any other. But even in safety, Zeus's life was not without danger. Rumors whispered among the Titans, and minor spies of Cronus occasionally scoured the lands, seeking the hidden child. Zeus learned early that strength alone was not enough. Cunning and cleverness were equally vital. He would hide, observing the intruders from the cover of ancient trees, learning their patterns, understanding their weaknesses. These small exercises, seemingly mundane, were in truth vital lessons in survival, preparing him for the monumental challenge that would one day pit him against the mightiest of Titans. As he grew, Zeus also began to recognize the profound connection between his siblings and himself. Though they remained imprisoned within Cronus, their energy resonated faintly through the world, an echo of their presence that only he could sense. The thought of his brothers and sisters, swallowed before they could see the light of day, filled Zeus with a quiet determination. This determination was not born of anger alone, but of purpose, a divine sense of justice that would one day compel him to act. In these early years, Zeus's powers began to manifest in subtle, almost imperceptible ways. Storm clouds would gather when his emotions stirred. The wind would shift gently, carrying whispers of his intentions across the forests. Rivers would shimmer with a peculiar brightness as he passed nearby. He learned to control these manifestations slowly, with guidance and patience, understanding that raw power without discipline could be as dangerous to him as to others. The nymphs, wise and patient, also introduced Zeus to the ancient arts of communication with other divine beings. Though he was isolated from the main pantheon, he could sense the vibrations of distant gods, the currents of their thoughts and emotions. In this way, he learned diplomacy, the subtle art of influence, and the value of alliances. He understood that to challenge Cronus, to free his siblings and claim his rightful place, brute force alone would not suffice. Strategy, foresight, and the careful use of allies would be just as important as lightning and strength. One day, as Zeus wandered near a secluded glade, he discovered a hidden pool whose waters shimmered with a light unlike any he had seen. Kneeling by its edge, he glimpsed his reflection. Yet it was more than a mere reflection. It was a vision of the god he would become. His eyes, calm yet piercing, seemed to see far beyond the forest and the mountains, perceiving the threads of destiny woven into the fabric of the world. In that moment, Zeus understood the enormity of his purpose. The prophecy was not a threat, it was a calling, and he would answer it with the patience, wisdom, and power he had been quietly cultivating. As the years passed, Zeus honed his skills in secret. The forest was his training ground, the streams his instructors, and the winds his companions. He learned the subtle dance of lightning and thunder, the rhythm of the clouds, and the hidden energies that flowed through the earth. Each lesson, each observation brought him closer to readiness. Though he was still a child in the eyes of the world, the heart of a king beat steadily within him, a king not yet crowned, but destined to command not just Olympus, but the very sky itself. Finally, the moment approached when Zeus could no longer remain hidden. Cronus's rule, though powerful, had vulnerabilities, and the time was near for the young god to rise from secrecy. The nymphs and caretakers, having nurtured him for years, whispered their guidance, reminding him that patience, cunning, and strategy would be his allies. Every skill he had learned, every observation he had made, and every subtle power he had honed would be called upon in the coming struggle. And so, With the quiet determination that had defined his childhood, Zeus prepared to leave the sanctuary of the hidden groves. The forests whispered their farewells, the streams sang in gentle currents, and the winds carried his presence across the land. The prophecy, once a distant echo, now rang clearly in his mind. He was ready. The Titanomachy, the battle against Cronus, and the liberation of his siblings was approaching. And Zeus, the hidden child, would step forward to claim his destiny. The hidden years had come to an end. Zeus, now grown in strength, wisdom, and quiet authority, felt the pulse of destiny stronger than ever. The prophecy that had lingered over Cronus like a shadow was no longer distant. It was imminent. Zeus knew that the time had come to act, to face the Titan who had swallowed his siblings and ruled the cosmos with fear, and to restore balance to the heavens and the earth. But power alone was not enough. Zeus understood that cunning, strategy, and alliances were just as crucial as raw strength. The first step was to free his brothers and sisters, whose energy resonated faintly from within Cronus. With the guidance of the nymphs and divine mentors who had nurtured him, Zeus sought a secret weapon, a potion of potent magic, capable of forcing Cronus to release his swallowed children. This potion, known only to the wisest of the gods, required careful preparation, patience, and timing. Every ingredient, every ritual was executed with meticulous care, for any error could cost the young god his life, or worse, doom the cosmos to continued tyranny. With the potion in hand, Zeus approached the mighty Cronus. The Titan's palace, built atop the highest peak of the cosmos, was surrounded by clouds of storm and shadow. The air trembled with the latent power of the imprisoned Titans, a constant reminder of the stakes. Zeus, unafraid yet calm, administered the potion in secret, pouring it carefully into Cronus's mouth while the Titan slept. The magic took hold slowly, and as Cronus stirred, he felt an unfamiliar weakness overtaking him. One by one, the children he had swallowed emerged, reborn in the light of the world, unharmed, yet imbued with the promise of the future. Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon were freed, their eyes wide with wonder and relief. The bonds of fear that had long held them captive were broken, and together they recognized the quiet authority and courage of the youngest among them, Zeus, their liberator and future king. But freedom alone did not guarantee victory. The Titans, aware of the disturbance, rallied their strength. They rose from their hidden fortresses, towering beings of immense power, each determined to maintain their dominion over the cosmos. The heavens quaked, the seas churned, and the earth itself trembled as the first clashes of the great Titanomachy erupted. Lightning struck, thunder rolled like the heartbeat of the universe, and winds tore across mountains and valleys, carrying the echoes of a battle that would shape the world for eternity. Zeus, though young, was unshaken. He had studied patience, strategy, and the subtle art of leadership during his hidden years. He coordinated his siblings with care, ensuring that each god's unique abilities were utilized to their fullest. Poseidon commanded the seas, Hades manipulated the shadows of the underworld, and the others lent their strength and wisdom where needed. The Titans, formidable and ancient, fought with fury, yet they were unprepared for the unity, cunning, and disciplined strategy that Zeus and his siblings displayed. The battles were long, their consequences vast. Mountains crumbled under the force of thrown weapons. Oceans swelled with waves of power. and the skies ignited with the energy of clashing gods. Zeus, wielding the power of lightning, struck with precision and control, learning in the heat of battle how to balance raw force with careful judgment. Each victory, no matter how small, reinforced his understanding. True power was not measured merely by strength, but by the wisdom to know when and how to use it. As the war raged, Zeus discovered the value of alliances beyond his immediate siblings. The Cyclopes, imprisoned by the Titans, were freed and offered their craftsmanship in return. They forged for Zeus the mighty thunderbolt, a weapon of unparalleled power, able to channel the full force of the heavens at his command. The other divine beings, seeing his leadership and fairness, joined his cause, swelling the ranks of the Olympian army. Together, they formed a force capable of challenging even the most fearsome Titans. The turning point came when Cronus himself confronted Zeus, a towering figure of wrath and ancient authority. Lightning clashed with shadow, the heavens trembled, and the earth shook with the intensity of their duel. Yet Zeus, calm and focused, understood the rhythm of the battle, the flow of energy, and the leverage of his allies. With a decisive strike of the thunderbolt, combined with the coordinated power of his siblings, Cronus was finally overpowered. Bound by the chains of their own misdeeds and the strength of the new order, the Titans were defeated, cast down from their high places and imprisoned, ensuring they could no longer threaten the harmony of the cosmos. The victory of Zeus and his siblings was not just a triumph of power, but a triumph of wisdom, strategy, and unity. It was a lesson that would shape Zeus's reign, that leadership required balance, foresight, and compassion. Even in victory, he did not gloat or rule with fear. Instead, he sought to establish order, fairness, and a system in which gods and mortals alike could coexist under the protection of divine authority. With the Titans subdued and the balance restored, Zeus claimed his rightful place as king of Olympus. The heavens, once chaotic and unpredictable, now reflected the calm and measured hand of their new ruler. The skies, oceans, and earth were under his guidance, yet he ruled with care, understanding that true power was not domination, but the stewardship of all creation. And so, the Titanomachy ended, not with mere destruction, but with the careful establishment of order, the liberation of the oppressed, and the rise of a god who would define the pantheon for all ages. Zeus, calm yet commanding, stood atop Olympus, a beacon of both strength and wisdom, ready to guide gods and mortals alike into an era of harmony, balance, and the quiet majesty of divine rule. With the Titans subdued and the balance of the cosmos restored, Zeus ascended the heights of Olympus, his steps measured and his presence commanding yet serene. The mountain peak stretched above the clouds, kissed by the golden rays of the sun and caressed by the gentle winds. From this vantage, he could see all the realms, sky, earth, and see each waiting for his guidance. The air was alive with the quiet whispers of the gods, who now looked to him for leadership, counsel, and the wisdom that only a ruler tempered by patience could provide. Zeus understood that the victory over the Titans was only the beginning. Power without order would be fleeting. Authority without justice would breed chaos. And so, his first decree as king was to establish a structure for Olympus, one that honored the strengths of each deity while ensuring harmony among them. He called upon his siblings, Hera, Poseidon, Hades, Demeter, and Hestia, and spoke with calm authority, outlining their roles, domains, and responsibilities. Hera, wise and regal, was entrusted with the guardianship of marriage, family, and the bonds that united gods and mortals alike. Her judgment was fair, yet firm, ensuring that relationships, both divine and human, would flourish under her guidance. Poseidon, whose spirit resonated with the restless energy of the seas, was given dominion over oceans, rivers, and all waters, his power matched by the respect he commanded among creatures of the deep. Hades, quiet and discerning, was granted authority over the underworld, a realm often feared but essential to the balance of life and death, where souls would find rest and justice would be served. Demeter, nurturing and steadfast, took charge of the harvests, the seasons, and the abundance of the earth, ensuring that mortals and gods alike would be sustained by the gifts of nature. Hestia, gentle yet unwavering, oversaw the hearths, the warmth of homes, and the sacred fires that connected mortals to the divine. Each god, under Zeus's guidance, accepted their responsibilities with reverence, understanding that their collective strength would uphold the order of the cosmos. Zeus himself claimed dominion over the sky, lightning, storms, and their delicate balance of fate. His role was not only to wield power, but to serve as the arbiter of disputes, the protector of justice, and the guardian of harmony among gods and mortals. He listened carefully to each counsel, weighed the needs of all realms, and acted with the quiet authority that had defined his years in the hidden groves. In every decision, he sought balance, ensuring that no force, mortal or divine, would tip the scales too far in favor of chaos or oppression. To solidify the structure of Olympus, Zeus also established laws and rituals, creating a framework that would guide behavior, worship, and the interactions of gods and mortals. Temples were consecrated, festivals established, and sacred rites performed, each a reminder of the presence and authority of the divine. These actions, though measured and deliberate, carried a sense of reassurance and calm. The universe, once turbulent and uncertain, now reflected the steady hand of its king, yet Zeus ruled not with fear, but with wisdom. He understood that the gods, like mortals, were not without flaws, and that temperance and guidance would often yield better results than punishment. He mediated disputes with a discerning mind, rewarded deeds of valor and virtue, and gently corrected excesses and missteps. In this way, Olympus became not only a seat of power, but a sanctuary of order, creativity, and balance. The humans below, too, felt the presence of Zeus. His dominion over the sky and weather brought rain to nourish the fields, calm winds to guide ships, and storms that reminded mortals of the delicate equilibrium of nature. They built temples in his honor, offered sacrifices and prayers, and celebrated festivals that reflected the rhythms of the seasons and the cycles of life. In all these acts, Zeus's influence was subtle yet pervasive, guiding the flow of existence with care and measured authority. Even as he ruled, Zeus remained vigilant. He knew that the forces of chaos could never be fully eradicated, only managed. Titans and rogue deities, though subdued, lingered at the edges of the cosmos, their power diminished, but their intent not fully extinguished. Mortals, too, possessed the capacity for both greatness and folly. Zeus's wisdom, patience, and foresight were constantly tested, yet he met each challenge with the calm determination that had always defined him. Thus, Olympus flourished under his reign. The gods found purpose in their domains. Mortals respected the balance of the heavens, and the world below moved in harmony with the order above. Lightning flashed not as a threat, but as a symbol of Zeus's vigilance, a reminder of the power tempered by wisdom. The winds carried his presence. The clouds shaped the sky in acknowledgement of his rule, and the earth reflected the stability he had established. Through these early years of governance, Zeus became not just a ruler, but a symbol, a guardian of balance, a master of strategy, and a beacon of calm authority. His reign was a testament to the idea that true leadership required more than strength. It required understanding, foresight, and the ability to harmonize diverse forces into a coherent whole. And in this harmony, both gods and mortals found their place, guided by the quiet, steady hand of Zeus, king of Olympus, wielder of lightning, and guardian of the cosmos. Zeus, ruler of Olympus, was not a god defined solely by might. His true power lay in the combination of wisdom, patience, and a sense of justice that tempered even his most formidable abilities. From the heavens, he observed all gods and mortals alike, and learned that understanding was as essential as strength. His personality, shaped by years of hidden growth and the trials of the Titanomachy, was both commanding and measured, capable of awe-inspiring authority while remaining accessible to those who sought guidance. One of Zeus's most recognizable symbols was the Astros thunderbolt, forged for him by the Cyclopes as a gift of loyalty and craftsmanship. This weapon was not merely a tool of destruction, it was a symbol of his dominion over the sky, the storms, and the forces of nature. With a single gesture, he could summon lightning to strike with precision, teaching lessons, protecting the innocent, or punishing the wicked. Yet, Zeus used this power sparingly, understanding that true authority was not measured by the frequency of exertion, but by the restraint to wield it wisely. Another symbol of Zeus was the eagle, a majestic bird that soared across the skies as his messenger and companion. The eagle represented his vigilance, keen perception, and the ability to see far beyond the immediate horizon. Wherever the eagle flew, it carried the watchful eye of Zeus, a reminder that justice and balance were always present, even in places unseen by mortal eyes. The oak tree, too, was sacred to him, its steadfast growth and resilience mirroring the stability he sought to bring to the cosmos. Zeus possessed a wide range of abilities, each reflecting a different facet of his divine nature. He could command the storms, shaping wind, rain, and thunder to his will, yet he did so with care, ensuring that the natural world remained in harmony. His control over the asterisk scati allowed him to influence the day and night, the cycles of the sun, moon, and stars, guiding mortals in their understanding of time and seasons. Beyond these, his absolute divine foresight gave him an understanding of cause and consequence, enabling him to mediate disputes, plan strategies, and anticipate challenges that others might overlook. Yet, Zeus was not without flaws. His personality carried the intensity of passion, curiosity, and occasional impatience. He was known for his decisive action when confronted with injustice or disobedience. Yet this decisiveness could sometimes lead to conflicts born of misunderstanding. Even so, his flaws were tempered by the lessons he had learned during his hidden upbringing and the trials of the Titanomachy. He understood that power without self-awareness could become destructive, and he worked to align his immense strength with wisdom and foresight. Beyond his personal abilities, Zeus's influence extended to those around him. He could inspire courage, loyalty, and reverence in both gods and mortals. His presence commanded respect, yet it also encouraged collaboration and unity. He recognized the importance of alliances, the strength found in counsel, and the necessity of shared responsibility. In this, Zeus exemplified the ideal ruler, one who balanced authority with empathy, strength with compassion, and ambition with restraint. The myths often describe Zeus's encounters with mortals and gods alike, illustrating his approach to leadership and power. When mortals demonstrated bravery, wisdom, or devotion, Zeus could reward them with favor, protection, or divine gifts. When gods acted recklessly or defied the order of Olympus, he administered justice, often in ways that taught lessons rather than simply punishing. His interactions were guided by a careful understanding of balance, ensuring that the actions of individuals contributed to the harmony of the greater cosmos. Zeus's personality was also marked by Astra's curiosity and engagement. He observed the world with a keen mind, always seeking to understand the motivations, desires, and struggles of those around him. This curiosity, tempered by patience, allowed him to govern effectively, anticipating challenges and nurturing growth. Even in moments of rest, he remained attentive, listening to the whispers of the wind, the flow of rivers, and the voices of those who sought his counsel. In essence, Zeus embodied the duality of power and wisdom, might and restraint. His thunderbolt, eagle, and oak symbolized the reach, vigilance, and stability of his rule. His personality, shaped by early trials, hidden growth, and the responsibilities of leadership, made him a god capable of guiding the pantheon with justice, compassion, and foresight. He was a ruler whose presence inspired both awe and comfort, commanding the cosmos not through fear alone, but through measured, deliberate action, ensuring that Olympus and the world below thrived under his careful watch. Through these qualities, Zeus became more than a god of storms and lightning. He became a symbol of balance, justice, and authority. His powers were vast, yet his wisdom ensured they were wielded with care. His flaws humanized him, allowing mortals and gods alike to relate to his struggles and triumphs. And in this combination of strength, intellect, and empathy, Zeus's reign on Olympus endured, setting a standard for leadership, courage, and the pursuit of harmony that would echo through myth and memory for all time. Zeus, the ruler of Olympus and master of the heavens, was no stranger to the allure of adventure and the intricacies of mortal and divine affairs. His stories, woven through the tapestry of myth, were as numerous as the stars in the sky, each one revealing a different facet of his character, power, and curiosity. These tales, though fantastical, carry lessons in wisdom, courage, and the delicate balance of the world. One of the most renowned myths is that of astronomic Europa, a mortal princess of unmatched beauty. Zeus, captivated by her grace, transformed himself into a majestic white bull, gentle and calm, so as not to frighten her. With careful patience and a soft demeanor, he invited her to climb upon his back. Then, with the swiftness of the wind and the precision of the stars, he carried her across the sea to the distant island of Crete. There, he revealed his divine form, and Europa became the mother of Minos, Rhadamanthus, and Sarpedon, children destined for greatness and wisdom. This story illustrates not only Zeus's immense power, but also his subtlety, strategy, and the ability to shape events with care rather than reckless force. Another tale tells of Astamus Leda, Queen of Sparta, whose encounter with Zeus left a legacy that would echo throughout history. Transforming into a swan, Zeus approached Leda with a calm and careful grace, ensuring her safety even in divine intervention. From this union were born Helen, Castor, Pollux, and Clytemnestra, figures whose lives intertwined with the fates of nations and heroes. Through this myth, we see Zeus's curiosity, his interaction with mortals, and the profound influence his actions could have on the unfolding of human history. Then there is Io, a mortal priestess whom Zeus admired. To protect her from Hera's jealousy, Zeus transformed Io into a white heifer, wandering across lands with the gentle guidance of the god's presence. Though she endured trials and hardships, the story ends with restoration and divine acknowledgement, demonstrating Zeus's protective and guiding nature, even amidst the complexities of jealousy and conflict within the pantheon. Zeus's adventures were not confined to mortal realms alone. In his dealings with asterisk Prometheus, the cunning titan who gifted fire to humanity, Zeus faced a challenge of wit and strategy. Though angered by Prometheus's actions, Zeus's response was measured. He bound the titan to a rock, where an eagle would consume his liver daily, only for it to regenerate each night. This punishment, both severe and instructive, underscored Zeus's commitment to order and the consequences of defying divine authority. Yet even in this tale of justice, Zeus's actions carried a subtle lesson. Power tempered by patience and foresight could maintain balance without tipping into chaos. The myth of Asterisk Semele, a mortal woman loved by Zeus, tells of passion, caution, and divine consequence. Zeus approached her with care, concealing his true form to protect her from the overwhelming force of his divinity. Through trust, secrecy, and timing, their union brought forth Dionysus, the god of wine and revelry, whose life would intertwine the mortal and divine worlds in celebration and chaos alike. Each of these myths reflects Zeus's complexity, a god of power, wisdom, strategy, and curiosity, whose actions shaped both the heavens and the earth. In addition to these tales of love and strategy, Zeus also engaged in adventures that shaped the very order of the cosmos. He mediated disputes between gods, challenged beings who threatened the balance, and intervened in mortal affairs to ensure that harmony was maintained. His actions, whether subtle or dramatic, demonstrated a constant awareness of consequence and a deliberate application of his powers. The asterisk challenge of Typhon, a monstrous serpentine giant, is one such adventure. Typhon, born of Gaia, sought to overthrow the Olympian order and spread chaos across the cosmos. Zeus, with careful strategy and the power of his thunderbolt, confronted the beast. The battle shook the heavens, the earth, and the seas. Yet Zeus's measured approach and his ability to marshal the forces of his allies led to Typhon's defeat. Bound beneath mountains, Typhon's rebellion was contained, reinforcing the lessons of vigilance, preparedness, and strategic use of strength. Each myth, whether of romance, conflict, or cosmic challenge, added depth to Zeus's character. They illustrated his ability to navigate complex situations, blending authority with subtlety, wisdom with action, and strength with empathy. Even the most fantastical tales shape-shifting into animals, battling monstrous beings, or intervening in mortal affairs conveyed lessons in patience, foresight, and the delicate balance of power. Through these stories, Zeus became not only a figure of worship, but a symbol of the intricate dance between power and responsibility. Mortals learned to honor him through rituals and offerings, understanding that the god of the sky wielded influence far beyond lightning and storms. The gods themselves recognized his wisdom, strategy, and ability to mediate disputes, ensuring that the pantheon remained harmonious under his watch. The adventures of Zeus continue to echo through time, reminding listeners that true power is measured not only by might, but by the careful, deliberate choices made in the service of balance and justice. In the gentle unfolding of these myths, each tale becomes a meditation on leadership, responsibility, and the enduring influence of a god who shaped the cosmos not through fear alone, but through wisdom, strategy, and a calm, measured hand. Though Zeus ruled Olympus with wisdom and authority, his heart and curiosity often drew him into the lives of gods and mortals alike. His relationships were intricate and varied, spanning devotion, rivalry, love, and sometimes mischief. Each connection shaped not only his story, but the destinies of those around him, reflecting the complexities of desire, loyalty, and divine influence. At the center of Zeus's divine family was Astric Hera, his sister and queen of Olympus. Their relationship was one of partnership, power, and occasional tension. Hera, regal and perceptive, complemented Zeus's authority with her keen sense of justice and guardianship of marriage and family. Yet, their bond was not without challenges. Zeus's wanderings, both in thought and in action, often tested Hera's patience, while Hera's vigilance ensured that Olympus remained guided by order and careful oversight. Their union, though complicated, was foundational to the structure and governance of the heavens. Beyond Hera, Zeus's heart and curiosity extended to mortals and other divine beings, giving rise to countless myths of love, desire, and intervention. Asterastic Europa, a mortal princess of remarkable grace, Zeus, captivated by her elegance, transformed into a gentle white bull and carried her to Crete, where she bore sons destined for greatness. This tale, filled with subtlety and strategy, reflects Zeus's patience and the care he took to shape events without unnecessary chaos. Expogeto, Leda, Queen of Sparta, experienced Zeus's influence when he approached in the form of a swan. From this union, children were born who would leave lasting legacies, intertwining the mortal and divine worlds. Each story of love carried lessons not only for the individuals involved, but for the world itself, illustrating the far-reaching consequences of Zeus's actions. Another mortal, Asterisk Io, a priestess admired by Zeus, endured transformation and trials to protect her from Hera's jealousy. Zeus's intervention, careful and protective, guided her through hardships and ensured her eventual restoration. This myth, like many others, highlights his role as both guide and protector, blending power with subtlety to maintain balance and justice. Zeus's relationships were not limited to mortals. He engaged with asterisk nymphs, minor deities, and divine figures, weaving intricate connections that influenced both Olympus and the mortal realm. Each encounter, whether born of curiosity, affection, or strategy, reflected aspects of his personality, his intelligence, his decisiveness, his empathy, and at times, his impulsive passions. Yet, Zeus's love and desire were not without consequences. Mortal and divine alike were often caught in the ripple effects of his actions. Some unions resulted in heroes and rulers whose destinies shaped nations, while others created tension, jealousy, and challenges that tested the resilience of gods and mortals alike. Through these relationships, Zeus demonstrated the delicate balance between personal desire and the responsibilities of leadership, revealing the complexity inherent in wielding immense power. Despite the intricacies and occasional conflicts, Zeus's relationships ultimately reinforced his role as a ruler, mentor, and protector. Each connection, whether harmonious or challenging, contributed to the broader tapestry of Olympus and the world below. They were guided by a combination of curiosity, foresight, and a deep understanding of consequence. In moments of reflection, Zeus considered the outcomes of his choices. He understood that love, like power, required careful stewardship. Impulses had to be balanced with foresight, and desires tempered by wisdom. These lessons, learned through centuries of observation and action, shaped not only his governance of Olympus, but the moral and cosmic order he sought to maintain. Through the stories of Hera, Europa, Leda, Io, and others, Zeus's character emerges in full, a god of immense strength, curiosity, and strategy, whose relationships reveal both his human-like complexities and his divine wisdom. In this calm and measured exploration, listeners can trace the subtle threads of connection, consequence, and guidance that define the legacy of Olympus's ruler. Zeus's love affairs and interactions, though often dramatic in myth, are recounted here with gentle care, suitable for reflective listening. They remind us that even a god, powerful and wise, navigates the challenges of desire, loyalty, and responsibility, balancing personal impulses with the needs of the cosmos. And in this balance, the stories of Zeus continue to resonate, offering lessons in patience, strategy, and the enduring impact of thoughtful action. Zeus, king of Olympus, left a legacy that transcended the heavens and touched the world of mortals in profound and lasting ways. Temples were built in his honor, their grand columns reaching skyward, adorned with intricate carvings depicting his triumphs, adventures, and the delicate balance of his rule. These sacred spaces became places of reflection, offering mortals a connection to the divine, a chance to seek guidance, and a way to honor the power and wisdom of the god who ruled the skies. Festivals celebrated his presence and influence, marking the rhythms of the seasons and the cycles of nature that he governed. Sacrifices, rituals, and prayers were offered in appreciation, reverence, and supplication, creating a living dialogue between the divine and mortal realms. Through these observances, Zeus's impact became woven into the daily life of civilizations, guiding their understanding of justice, order, and the forces of nature. Art, sculpture, and literature immortalized Zeus, capturing both his formidable power and his nuanced personality. From towering statues that conveyed the majesty of his presence to delicate depictions of his myths and adventures, artists sought to reflect not only his might, but the wisdom and strategy that defined his reign. His image became a symbol of authority, balance, and leadership, inspiring generations of thinkers, rulers, and storytellers. Even in modern culture, Zeus's influence endures. References to his myths appear in books, films, games, and educational works, illustrating the timeless resonance of his stories. His adventures, relationships, and governance continue to offer lessons in leadership, responsibility, and the careful balance between power and wisdom. The principles he embodied, justice tempered by empathy, strength balanced with strategy, remain relevant, guiding contemporary reflections on authority and ethical action. In this way, Zeus's legacy is not confined to ancient tales alone. It lives on in human creativity, morality, and the enduring fascination with the divine. From the highest peaks of Olympus to the pages of modern media, the presence of Zeus continues to remind us of the enduring power of careful leadership, measured authority, and the timeless dance between human curiosity and divine wisdom. And now, as the stories of Zeus and the realms of Olympus softly settle into your mind, allow yourself to breathe slowly and calmly. Imagine the gentle rustle of the wind across Mount Olympus, the quiet shimmer of lightning far in the distance, and the soothing roll of thunder, not as a threat, but as a lullaby from the heavens. Zeus, mighty and wise, watches over the world below, maintaining balance, order, and harmony. His adventures, his triumphs, and his lessons are now a quiet rhythm in your imagination, each tale a gentle current carrying you toward rest. The gods have returned to their domains, the mortals to their lives, and the cosmos, guided by his steady hand, is at peace. As you lie here, let the calm authority of Zeus wash over you, like a soft blanket of stars stretched across the night sky. Every cloud, every breeze, every distant echo of thunder is a reminder that you are safe, that the world is held in balance, and that all is as it should be. With each exhale, release the tension of the day. With each inhale, draw in the calm wisdom of the heavens. Let your mind drift gently through the stories you've heard, letting the adventures and lessons of Zeus dissolve into a soothing, quiet rhythm. And now, slowly, let your thoughts fade, like the final whispers of a gentle storm, as sleep carries you deeper into dreams. Rest well, knowing that the stories of gods, of courage, and of wisdom will remain with you, quiet and eternal, until morning's light. Good night.